before, but going after him was a whole other experience. Thank you, Boris, not just for those kind words, but for everything that you have done for our town. And congratulations on being selected as the Conservative candidate for Uxbridge. It'll be great to have you back in the House of Commons and hopefully playing a key role in the next Conservative government. It's not just Boris I want to thank. If I'm seen as a good local MP, it's in large measure down to 6 incredible people who work for me. Sarah, Eddie, Felicia and Sue, my constituency officer Shirley, and Katrina and Mario in my Westminster office. They all live locally and they share my passion for our town, and I couldn't ask for a better team. I also want to thank all of you for coming tonight. I cannot tell you how much it means to me to see so many people here. We live in a time where lots of people have lost faith in politics. They think politicians are only in it for themselves, and given how some politicians behave, you can't blame them. But there are tens of thousands of people in this country involved in politics at a grassroots level, giving up their spare time to knock on doors or deliver leaflets with no prospect of any financial gain. They do what they do because they want a better future for their local community and their country. And despite all its flaws, they believe that politics is the best way to build that better future. To see so many such people here this evening to support you is deeply humbling, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to talk to you tonight about the future of our town, and that means starting with an honest appraisal of Croydon today. As I've said in the video, I've lived here since I was a few months old. I love this town. I can't see myself ever wanting to live anywhere else. I love the fact that we're part of one of the greatest cities in the world, but with the beautiful North Downs countryside on our doorstep. I love the fact that we're not just another commuter suburb, but a city in our own right in all but name. I love the amazing mix of people who have made our town their home. But we mustn't allow our passion for this town, nor the fact that we have a Conservative government and a Conservative mayor, and until recently a Conservative council, to lead us to maintain that everything is fine, because it's not. I know it, you know it, and as your MP, I have a duty to be honest about it. Our town centre and a number of district centres like Newington and Croydon Road are in desperate need of investment. Our infrastructure struggles to cope with the number of people living here. Parts of the borough suffer from high crime rates, and worst of all, Croydon has a reputation for it that the 2011 riots made much worse. But if it's wrong to try to gloss over these problems, it's equally wrong to despair. One of the most depressing things about my job is occasionally meeting constituents who've given up on Croydon. They think it's gone to the dogs and there's nothing that can be done about it. They're wrong. Over the last few years, we've begun to turn things around. The number of people in the borough claiming job seekers allowance is down by 40% since this government came to office. As you've heard earlier tonight, Westfield and Hammerson, two of the biggest retail developers in the country, are investing over £1 billion to transform our shopping centre, and other investors are following in their footsteps. The council is in the middle of a £50 million programme to transform the public spaces in the town centre. The new crossing from Queen's Gardens to Leeds Halls, and the new route from East Croydon Station to Wellesley Road are the first stages of that transformation. Our infrastructure is being transformed. We're getting record levels of funding from the government to build new schools. Capacity on the vital rail service to London Bridge is being increased. A new northern entrance to East Croydon was recently opened. Crime is down by nearly 10% in the last week, with big falls in burglary and robbery. And our schools, which used to be worse than the shortage, are now better and improving more quickly. My key message to you tonight is that Croydon's best days are ahead of us. They are not behind us. We can reverse the decline. In fact, we can do better now. We can make our town one of the best places in this country to live. Part of the greatest city in the world, but far greener than most other parts of London. An affordable place to live and work, at least by London standards, with amazing transport connections 24 hours a day to central London. Not some dormitory suburb, but a place in its own right, with strong local economy, great public services, and all the shops, restaurants, bars, pubs and cultural facilities you could wish for. And home to the most amazing mix of people from all over the world living happily side by side, an example to the rest of the world that religion and skin colour need not divide us. But this is only going to happen if we make the right choices, and that's ultimately what next year's election is about. It's not a beauty contest, which is lucky for me, because if it was, I'd be in real trouble. It's It's a battle of ideas. What policies we need to pursue to make Croydon the place we all want it to be. Along with Chris Philp and Big Mo and our candidates for Croydon South and Croydon North, I've published a detailed vision for Croydon's future. A summary was on your chair when I came in. It's full of ideas about how to change Croydon for the better. A university, a new A&E department at Croydon Hospital, a leisure centre in the town centre, investment in one of our major parks so that it compares with somewhere like Battersea Park. Many of these ideas enjoy cross-party support. That's a good thing. The more we can build consensus about what we need to do to turn Croydon around, the better. Our job between now and the 7th of May, however, is to explain the areas where our approach differs from others, the choice people face at the next election. And tonight I want to finish by talking to you about 7 key differences. The most important is how we build a strong economy. We both agree this is the most important issue facing Britain today, but we have very different ideas about how to do it. When Labour left office, they were spending £150,000 million every year they didn't have. The biggest deficit in British peacetime history. It wasn't entirely their fault. The global recession played a big part, but they weren't blameless either. We were clear that the country couldn't keep on borrowing at that rate, but slowly but surely we had to get the deficit down and start reducing our overall debt. They said that if we tried to cut government spending, it would put 1 million people on the dole. 4 years later, they've been proved comprehensively wrong. We've cut the deficit, unemployment is falling faster than at any time since records began, and our economy is growing faster than any other advanced economy. Things are far from perfect. The deficit is down, but it hasn't been eliminated, and many, many families have yet to see an improvement in their living standards. But we're clearly moving in the right direction. My Labour opponent thinks this is the moment to put Ed Miliband and Ed Balls in charge. The two Eds were at Gordon Brown's side when he got us into this mess. They've been proven wrong about how to sort it out, and remarkably, they're still arguing for more spending and more debt. I can't think of two people less qualified to run our economy. What we need to do is stick with this government's plan that is working. And if we do that, we have a chance of achieving the dream of full employment, a job for everyone who wants one. And I want those jobs to be good, well-paid jobs. Ed Miliband is right to talk about increasing the minimum wage, but it's this government that's delivered the first above inflation increase for years. I want to see it increase further. It's very hard to live in Croydon on the current rate of £6.31 an hour. And it's not fair that all of us end up subsidising employers who pay rock bottom wages, topping up employees' salaries through the tax credit and benefit systems. The second big difference is about standards in our schools. On the face of it, standards improved under the last government. More pupils got good grades. But much of this improvement was the combination of it becoming easier to get good grades and the government treating poor quality vocational qualifications as equivalent to GCSEs. Standards relative to other countries actually declined. It's not children from affluent backgrounds who suffer when standards slip. They tend to go to the best state schools or to private schools. It's children from less affluent backgrounds, those who most need help, who get a raw deal. And that's something that I feel very passionate about. I believe very strongly in everyone having an equal chance. I want to live in a Croydon where who your parents are doesn't determine your prospects in life, where bright children born on the wrong side of the tracks can get to top universities and to the top of their professions. During my time as MP, I've given work experience to almost 200 local young people. If I'm re-elected, I want to go further, setting up a mentoring scheme to help bright children from families where no one's gone to university before to achieve their potential. But there's only so much mentoring schemes can achieve. The key to social mobility is ensuring all children get a good education. And both nationally and locally, we've taken decisive action to raise standards. We've made the curriculum and the exam system more rigorous so that they compare with the best around the world. We've given schools with pupils from less well-off backgrounds extra money to allow them to recruit the best teachers and provide additional support to help those pupils get just as good results as those from affluent backgrounds. And we've closed low-performing schools and replaced them with new academies, with the support of the previous Labour government, but in the face of opposition from Labour councillors here in Croydon. You've heard tonight about the difference that has made at the Quest Academy. Another example is Oasis Academy, Shirley Park, which replaced Ashburton. In its last year, just 26% of Ashburton students got 5 A-star to C GCSEs, including English and Maths. 5 years later, That figure has nearly trebled to 69%. The school was recently inspected by Ofsted and found to be outstanding in every regard. When I wrote to the principal, Glenn Dagan, to congratulate him, this is what he said to me in reply. It's not good enough. We must compete with the Trinities, the Wycliffes, the Croydon Highs. We celebrate the 69% of students that got 5 good GCSEs, but we have the 31% that didn't get it in the forefront of our minds. We need more people like Glenn Dagan and Maureen Martin running our state schools. The new academy, together with the government's policy of allowing charities to set up new schools called free schools in areas without enough good places, had given parents more choice. I want that process to continue. In particular, wouldn't it be great to see one of the grammar schools in neighbouring Bromley or Sutton open a satellite school here in Croydon? The third big difference between us and Labour is our attitude to crime. It's a big issue for Croydon. Parts of the borough suffer from high crime rates, but the perception is even worse than the reality, and is one of the main factors behind Croydon's bad reputation. It's really important that politicians take a zero approach to this problem, zero tolerance approach to this problem. I was very disappointed at my Labour opponent's response to the illegal raid that took place at the empty Royal Mail building next to Croydon Station in June. Not only did this incident do further damage to the town's reputation, a significant amount of criminal damage was done to the building, the lives of those who were nearby were disrupted, taxis, trams and buses were unable to get to East Croydon for nearly 24 hours, a number of people were seriously injured, and one young man tragically died. I put out a statement calling for those responsible to face the full force of the law. My Labour opponent responded by accusing me of being too macho, and said, youth is about exploration, pushing boundaries, seeking out fun, and moulding your personality. Now, to be fair to her, she didn't know when she issued the statement that someone had died, but it was public knowledge that several people were seriously ill in hospital, and that significant criminal damage had been done to the building. I hope you all find it frankly bizarre that someone who aspires to represent our town in Parliament could take that view. When people break into private property, damage it, disrupt the lives of those who are nearby, and endanger the lives of our young people, they should pay a price for doing so. That is not a macho viewpoint, it's common sense. The fourth difference between us and Labour is our approach to immigration. We agree that allowing hard-working people with the skills we need to settle here is good for our country. They're likely to be net contributors to society, paying more in taxes than they use in services. And they contribute to society in many other ways too, enriching our culture and making this a more vibrant, cosmopolitan place to live. My life would be immeasurably poorer if the far right had won the argument and stopped all immigration. But Labour were wrong to allow so many people to come here. Nearly 4 million people in just 13 years. We're a small, densely populated island, so numbers have to be controlled. This government has reduced immigration by a quarter. However, that headline figure disguises the fact that while immigration from outside the EU is down significantly, immigration from inside the EU has increased. We need to reform the EU's freedom of movement so that we can reduce these numbers. That's why the Prime Minister wants to renegotiate our relationship with the EU. And as Boris said, only the Conservatives will give you a say on that relationship via a binding referendum. We also need to limit access to parts of the welfare state until people have been here for a while and contribute to the system. Let me give you an example. At the moment, you only have to live in this borough for a year to get on the waiting list for the council council. That's not long enough, and I hope the council will look at increasing it. As a result of immigration, Croydon is now one of the most diverse parts of the country. That can be a real strength, but only if we have a strong sense of community between people of different backgrounds and different faiths. And we will only have that if people feel they are being treated fairly. That means tackling prejudice, whether it be discrimination that people with non-traditional names still experience in the jobs market, changing the way that the police use stop and search powers, or not stigmatising the entire Muslim community because of the actions of a small minority. But it also means ensuring that people feel they can raise issues that they are concerned about without being accused of being racist. Another area where there are clear differences between us and Labour is housing. We agree that Croydon, like the rest of London, is facing a housing crisis. We agree that the answer is to build more homes, but we disagree both about what to build and where to build it. The Labour Council, who was elected in May, recently announced that 30% of all future housing must be affordable. On the face of it, that sounds eminently reasonable. But when they talk about affordable housing, what they mean is council housing and housing association housing, not homes that people can afford to buy That's a mistake for three reasons. First, most of us want to own our own home, not rent from the council. Second, this policy is going to make housing less affordable. If a developer has to build 6 council homes for every 14 homes they build to sell, they have no choice but to pass the cost of building those 6 homes onto the people that buy the 14 homes. And third, whilst we clearly need some council and housing association housing, if we build more than any other borough, but we end up housing poorer people from other parts of London, making it harder to turn around Croydon's economic decline. What we should be doing is building more housing for people to buy, so the prices don't rocket. I want to spread ownership of property as widely as possible, not go back to a time when it was the preserve of a privileged few. And our Labour Council has come up with another silly idea that will make housing more expensive. They want to introduce something called selective licensing for private rented accommodation. Despite the name, there's nothing selective about it at all. Every private landlord in the borough would have to pay £200 a year to the council for every property that they rent out. If they don't, they'd be liable for a fine of up to £20,000. It doesn't take a genius to work out what will happen if this scheme goes ahead. Landlords who make the payment will simply pass the cost on to their tenants. Indeed, the council itself admits this is likely to happen. They say that they're doing it to tackle some landlords, but they already have the powers to do that. The truth is, it's a classic Labour self-tax. The council is hoping that landlords, not it, will get the blame for higher rent bills. They've been found out, and it's time they ditch the idea. But we also disagree about where to build the extra homes we build. My Labour opponent told a public meeting the other night, we need to be brave and build in places people might not want us to. As Conservatives, we don't want to see our precious green spaces like the fields at the bottom of Gravel Hill built over, or the character of our suburbs changed by backward development. The right answer is to concentrate development here in the town centre. Having people living here will change it for the better in the evenings, and concentrating the additional homes in a particular area rather than spreading them across the whole borough makes it much easier to convince the government that additional infrastructure is required. More GP surgeries, more schools, longer or more frequent trains and trams. Without these improvements, building more housing makes life worse for the rest of us. The final difference between us and Labour is over welfare. We both believe in a safety net for those who fall in hard times. We have a moral duty to make sure that everyone has a roof over their heads and food on the table. But under the last government, some out-of-work families were getting more than £50,000 a year in benefits, more than twice what the average family earns after tax. As Conservatives, we think this is doubly wrong. It sends the wrong message that you're better off on benefits than you work, and it's unfair to working people who have to pay for these benefits through their taxes. That's why this government has introduced a benefit cap of £26,000 a year for out-of-work families. My Labour opponent wants to raise that cap. She wants to go back to the bad old days when you could work all day only to find yourself much worse off than your next door neighbour who was on benefits. So there you have it. 7 clear differences. Reducing the deficit so that we have a strong economy and everyone has a good job. Raising standards in our schools so that children from less well-off backgrounds get an equal chance in life. A zero-tolerance approach to crime so that people feel safe coming to our town. Reducing immigration and tackling prejudice so that we're a strong community. Building more homes for people so that prices don't rocket and we can spread ownership as widely as possible. Building those homes in the right places, not on our precious green spaces, and ensuring that it always pays to work. These are the messages we need to take to the people of Croydon Central. And not just to traditional Conservative supporters. We need to reach out to people who agree with us on these issues, but don't think of themselves as Conservatives. Convince them of our passion to build a fairer Croydon. Because if we win this battle of ideas, we can transform Croydon into a place that is the envy of people across the country, not the butt of comedians' jokes. Let's make it happen. Thank you very much for being here.